Stephen A. Smith, in your opinion, you think folks should forgive him?
It's a very dangerous thing to say that somebody shouldn't be forgiven. America's the land of second chances. People make mistakes all the time. Being a Christian, you want to have forgiveness in your heart and understand that people should be forgiven and be allowed to make amends and to repent and what have you. With that being said, I have no problem with anybody that wants to forgive Ryan Braun. He certainly didn't do anything to me personally, but I will go as far as to say never in life should he be trusted again. I'm not going to sit there and denigrate him any more than's necessary. I'm just going to speak factually. He is a pathological liar. He is somebody that was indignant on top of being a pathological liar. And as a result of that, I sincerely think that it is fair to question whether or not this guy has any kind of soul whatsoever. And I don't only stop at him. I also look at Major League Baseball in some way, whether tacitly or otherwise, being complicit in what has transpired with Ryan Braun. Because this guy, the urine sampler collector, to sit there and to call this guy out the way that this guy did. We don't even know if this guy's getting paid $50,000, $70,000 a year. He didn't know whether it was going to cost the man his job, and he went in on him and just dogged him to no end. He sat there and snubbed his nose at Major League Baseball. Friends like Aaron Rodgers and others, he flat out lied to them and betrayed them. And then to add further insult to whatever injuries he may have inflicted, what does he do? This man sits there and he disappears. He leaves his teammates hanging in the clubhouse to speak for him because, like a weasel, he ran. Didn't want to face the music, didn't want to talk to the public, had to go someplace in the hiding, okay, for months at a time. And then when he comes back and finally shows his face, what does he do? He says that he's been around a little while, but nobody knew, okay, so you were still hiding. When you finally want to speak up, it's when you're doing charitable work to try to make yourself look good. You take an opportunity to inform us that Dino Lorenzo and his family had you and your fiance over for dinner, et cetera, et cetera. You've done everything you could to avoid facing the music. I would feel a lot better for him, Skip, if when the truth came out, Major League Baseball had made him sit there in a press conference, just the way he had conducted a press conference, to call out everybody. Now that you've been busted and you've acknowledged that you've been busted and you have been lying all along, you have to sit front and center and tell us what you did instead of issuing some statement and then hiding for months at a time. I would have far more respect for him then than I do now. But because he didn't do that way, he has continued to show his cowardice. And as a result of that, again, the word forgiveness is not apropos because we can forgive almost anybody, but forgetting is another matter. And everything I said about him, I mean from the bottom of my soul. Very cowardly, very weak, pathological liar, not to ever be trusted again. But at the same time, you can still forgive him for being all of those things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so back to the original question. What was it, Carrie? Do you forgive him?
Yeah, should he be forgiven? I don't necessarily know if it's our place, but in your thoughts, should he be forgiven?
I mean, in the spiritual context, I'm not sure it applies here. So I'm going to forget about the forgiveness word and just go to what I've seen from this man. We've seen before him a Rafael Palmeiro lie to Congress. I never, ever, pointing his finger at the camera. Mark McGuire pled the fifth. Sammy Sosa said, I don't speak English, I don't understand. Yeah, right. Look, this guy is brilliant, Stephen A. Smith. The way he handled this was textbook. If you had been his advisor, as Weasley as you might be, you should get the highest marks. Because remember, he got 65 games the rest of the year, and he just took it and disappeared. Brilliant strategy. After he lied and lied and lied and got caught. And you're right, Stephen A. You can never, ever trust this man again. Nothing he says should ever be taken to anybody's bank, because this man is a gifted liar, a convincing liar, a great actor. And in the end, he played it beautifully because the team had fallen completely out of the race. He was injured, and he's like, oh, thank you very much. I think I'm gone. I think I'd be happy to take the rest of the year off. In fact, it would do me good to take the rest of the year off. And now he's eligible to return for spring training. So in the big picture, what a beautiful play. You show up on Thanksgiving at a food drive, and these are your first public comments as everybody's in the Thanksgiving spirit, and you're making amends with the guy you accused and almost ruined his career because you've had dinner with him. I would like to hear from that guy before we take that to the bank. But Stephen A., I don't know. He is what a lot of these guys are. He played the system beautifully. I think he beat the system. I think he'll be right back in business, and he's such a convincing liar that I think in spring training, a lot of people will buy into him and buy back into him, and he'll be right back in business in Milwaukee.